So I'm sure most of you saw Donald Trump's ridiculous Thanksgiving post yesterday. And for those of you that didn't, I'm not going to pull it up on the screen. But you can imagine that it was what Donald Trump always does on the holidays. He can never just take a minute and be thankful. He can never take a minute and wish anyone well. He can never take a moment and say anything positive. He always has to find a way to make it about himself and find it a way to aim toward the people that he hates and take it out further on them. Yesterday he could have at least just thanked Maga and said he was thankful for them and that he was going to do a good job for our country and that for the people that didn't vote for him, he was going to show us that he would be working for us too. But that's not what he did at all. He basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, "Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, including the radical left who has worked to destroy this country and failed miserably." And then Don Jr. reposted it and said, "This is legendary. We're back." He's proud of his dad for talking down to people like that and bullying people like that on a day when we're supposed to be gathered together with the ones we love to show thanks for the things that we have. And yesterday was a tough day for a whole lot of people because a whole lot of people had to gather around family members that were going to be like, let's just put our politics aside. Let's just move on. It ain't going to be that bad. And there were a lot of people who are feeling really down about the results of the election and didn't want to be flexed at. They didn't want to be taunted. They didn't want to be laughed at or made fun of any further. And they dreaded getting together with certain family members for fear of that happening. And I'm sure it did happen to some people. And that's the world we live in. But one thing that I've heard so much here in the last couple of days, and you'll hear it going into Christmas, you'll hear it going into the New Year's, and you'll hear it on Inauguration Day, is that, now listen, it's time for us just to all be friends. Let's all just move past this now. It's just politics. No, it's not. It's not just politics. Oh, some people likes Trump. Some people likes Harris. Nope, it's not that simple. Let me explain. I will never give Donald Trump a pass for the things that he did, and I will never give a pass to the people who empowered him. I said going into the election, if he loses this thing, I'm not giving them a pass. I'm not going to let them off the hook. I'm going to remind them that they propped this guy up every day. They loved him because of what he empowered in them, and they gave every excuse in the book for him to be the most over-the-top, cruel person he could possibly be. He sticked them on our nation's capital, and they tried to overturn an election that they knew they lost deep down, and they tried to take away people like my vote. So it was never going to be something that I was going to just let go of and just move past and let's just all be friends. Let's say this thing had went the opposite way, and right now Kamala Harris was picking her cabinet. I would not be sitting on here saying now's the time for us to be friends with MAGA. I would have never been saying that. And I would have never been saying, now's the time to just move past all the things Donald Trump done, just forget about all that. I would have never said that either. I would have still been sitting here holding them accountable. And I sure as hell am going to be doing it now that we're going into a second Trump term and we're sitting back watching him pick this cabinet of chaos, which is designed to destroy every department that he puts them in charge of. They intend to destroy it. They want to burn it down. Mike Johnson said, the American people have spoken and they want someone that'll shake up the status quo. So they have literally created departments out of thin air. They have literally put the worst of people in charge, and all the evidence and all the receipts we've brought on how terrible these people are as picks, it doesn't matter because they still want to burn it down because they're still sore winners. They won, but they can't be happy about that. They have to find a way to continue to have the fight. I have had more hate mail since the election. I've had death threats since the election. And I'm supposed to just now say, oh yeah, it's just politics. Let's just forget about that. Let's just move on. I'm never going to move on. I'm never going to forget what Donald Trump did on January 6th. I'm never going to forget the type of person that he was. And I'm never going to forget the type of people who he empowered. That's something that we can't forget. And that's something that I won't forgive. And I know a lot of people said you got to have forgiveness in your heart. I don't believe that I do. Because those were things that crossed the line that were completely unforgivable. And this idea that now I'm just supposed to sit back and just let it all go and let it just all be water under the bridge now and let's just move on. That's not how it works. Just because Donald Trump won this thing does not mean that everything he did just magically disappeared. And it sure doesn't mean that the people he empowered have magically disappeared because now, for whatever reason, even in victory, they're more hateful and more spiteful than ever. I mean, I could do a whole segment where I just sit here and read the hate mail and all of the doom and gloom and death that they have wished on me and my family. And when I point those things out to people who's like, well, I voted for Trump because I liked his policy, and I point out the things that have been said to me, and I point out the way that those type of people have acted towards me and my friends, it's like, oh, well, yeah, man, there's crazy people out there. But hey, Trump would never do those things. Trump wouldn't actually do that. He's not as bad. He's not really going to do nothing to you. But I've yet to hear one of them say we wouldn't let him do anything to you. When I point out he said he wanted to turn the American military on people, or may turn the American military on people that disagreed with him, shut down people who disagreed with him, all I've heard from people that voted for him over his policy is, well, he wouldn't actually do that, I don't think. But I've never heard them say we would stand up for you if that were to happen. I've never one time heard them say, no, we would never allow that to happen to you. So how am I supposed to make nice with that? How am I supposed to be friends with people who I know would sit back and stay quiet if the American military was turned on me? Why should I be friends with those kind of people? And why should I give that a pass? And why should I look past it? Because I've always believed in the old saying, I may not agree with everything you say, but I'll fight to your death the right to say it. I believe in that. I do believe in that. I believe that I have cousins who disagrees with me. And I had a grandfather who fought to give us both the right to disagree. And I believe that. The only thing that I have ever called out, I've never sat and called them out for speaking their mind. I've called them out for the things that I thought that they got wrong. I've called them out for things when it was just not true. And I've called them out for embracing someone who was everything we were raised not to be. Donald Trump is everything that would have got me and my cousins slapped in the mouth by our granddaddies. And yeah, our granddaddies was Republican. Both mine were. But I just know for a fact that if I had have carried myself in that manner, that it would not have flew for 1 minute around Papaw. He would not have took me talking that way. If I'd have talked to women the way Donald Trump has, if I had talked down to people the way that Trump has, if I carried myself in that manner, and if on Thanksgiving Day I busted through the door and just started going, happy Thanksgiving to all of you, including you over there who I can't stand and I despise, I guarantee you he would take me to the side and say, that is not the place for you to be acting this way. I guarantee you he would. I don't know what he would have done had he lived and just rolled with it. I don't know. But I can tell you this much, and I've said it from day one. If my grandfathers had have rolled with Donald Trump, I would still say they were wrong. I don't worship my grandfathers. I don't worship people that came before me. I don't worship any politician. I'm not in a cult, so I would have called it out regardless. But this idea that suddenly we're just supposed to forget about it, move on, and all be friends, that's not how it works. Especially when you're still flexing and still being sore winners and still threatening people and their family and their livelihood, and then we're just supposed to forget about that and move on. And to the people out there that says, well, I just voted for him on policy, Brando, I wouldn't never talk to you that way, and he wouldn't never do, then call those people out. Go ahead, call out Maga, call them out, and say, stop talking to people that way. If you really believe that, I saw The Undertaker say, I'd give Dave Bautista a hug if he was here. Okay, well then call out the people who are making threats. Call out the people who are being divisive. Call out, because you want to be surrounded by that kind of person. You can literally, every day on social media, I see videos of them out there just flexing and painting shit on their chest and acting as over-the-top ridiculous as they can. So you want to be aligned with that type of person? You say you're our friend. We're friends. We can still be friends. But you are okay with that coming at us full volume and you're never going to shout it down. And before anyone says anything, let me remind you that we did shout down the political violence. We did say when someone took a shot at Trump, there's no room for this in American politics. This should never happen. We have called it down. They're the ones that sat and made jokes about Paul Pelosi getting hit with a hammer. They're the ones that sat and made jokes like that. We have always sat here and called it out and said it was wrong. But they can't do the same. And then they want to turn around and say, oh, let's just be friends. Well, it don't work that way. It doesn't work that way. As long as you are aligned with that type of person, then you're guilty by association, and I don't trust a word that comes out of your mouth. So I want to thank everyone so much for coming along on this ride with me. We are really moving along on the subscribers here on the channel. I'm blown away at all that we've received here just in the last 10 days. We hit, well, probably 12 days by now, but we hit... God, we're almost at 400. We're right at 440,000. So I would like to see us get to 500,000 by inauguration day, but the way it's going, I believe we might be able to hit that within a couple of weeks if we keep moving as fast as we've been moving. So I appreciate you guys so much for that. I also want to remind everyone tonight I will be over on Patreon at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, sitting right here playing some music, singing some songs, and getting away from the politics for a while. So if you'd like to do that, the link is in the description of this video. It's a free show to the public. You don't have to be a patron to get in. Also, we have new designs in the merch store. Shout out to Sarah and Dustin for helping us come up with those and getting everything rolling. Really appreciate everyone. We've got the links here in the description of the video. And also from Black Friday through Cyber Monday, everything in my merch stores, both on Fourth Wall and Teespring, is 20% off when you enter the promo code THANKFUL. So just doing a little bit of plugging there at the end, but I'll be back later tonight playing some music on Patreon. And yeah, I welcome people who disagree, and I want to be friends with people, but I'm not going to align myself with people that empowered that dude and thinks that it's okay and wants to give him a pass. That's never going to happen here on this channel. So if anyone's waiting for it, don't hold your breath.